could get your attention, we'd like to introduce the class of 2022 Lehigh and Career Hall of Fame. Thank you. Your attention, please. We'd like to introduce the inductees. Please take a seat.
Hanging out with the guys from the golf course. How's your sister?
He doesn't have the pizzazz, but yeah, he's got to like take the charge. Okay, it's time.
All right, the first inductee is Rick Colon. One of the restaurant industry's most respected executives, who now keeps America running at Dunkin' from the lead class of 1979. Next inductee is John Courtman, a legend in the New Haven public schools, among the many charitable organizations he's helped. He was at Lee from 1968 to 1978. The next inductee is Heidi Gold-Dworkin, a molecular biologist who has helped educate countless children and enhance their interest in science from the lead class of 1977. Heidi. The next person is a very famous person, not only in this area, but in Chicago. His name is Bill Jacobs, and he brought thin crust pizza to Chicago from the lead class of 79. Next person is a star baseball player at Lee, but he's made his mark in the neighborhood as a baseball coach and umpire for kids throughout the area. From the class of 1978, Mike Lamberti. The next person is a social media whiz that keeps the Lehigh community together in cyberspace. From the Lee class of 1973, many of you follow him on Facebook. Sonny Martone. Needs no introduction. It's Shirley Moss Neighbors, a nationally recognized biology teacher that many in this room fear sometimes, but loves to overcome. She taught at Lee and Greer. Winning Lehigh girls basketball coach and pioneering advocate for women's sports. She was at Lee from 1969 to 1976.
Yeah, I saw him. That's why you did the ball flying. That's why you did
Being inducted posthumously from the Lee class of '82, Billy Scott, a man who truly embodied the community spirit of Lehigh, represented by his daughter Shamika Edwards.
Thank you. I say the same thing. Who's that punter? Mike Brill. Mike Brill.
Also being inducted posthumously from the Lee class of '79.
Oh, you still.
Almost a national icon for many years, who went from playing football at Lee to NFL Coach of the Year, represented by his wife, who is also a Lee graduate, from the class of 1979, Anthony Sperano. To the Girl Scouts and so many other worthy causes from the Lee class of 1977.
You had a big man like that, you would have won about 5 championships.
Next inductee is a gentleman who led the Lehigh boys basketball to their first state title from the Lee class of '76, Sly Williams. a relentless promoter of the city of New Haven and its cultural activities, represented by his brother, Jimmy, and sister. All right, if everyone could please take their seats. Welcome to our inductees and all our guests tonight to the Lee Career High School Hall of Fame. We have a long program tonight, and we would like everyone to take a seat. First of all, welcome to all our inductees and all our guests tonight for the Lee Career High School Hall of Fame. We have been very patient, waiting for several years through all this tumultuous time with COVID and pandemic and everything else. And we are real proud that we finally got this affair together. And thank you to all the people who supported this. We have sold 500 tickets. On behalf of the Hall of Fame Committee, we are so happy to be able to host this event 3 years after our last ceremony. As you can imagine, the path was unpredictable at times. But with the determination most of us learned by either attending or teaching at Lee or Career, we never let up, and you see the results in this room tonight. This evening we will honor 14 individuals who have made their marks in a wide range of endeavors. In law, in science, in business, in sports, and most important, in life in general. Regardless of their successes, one thing remains constant for all tonight's inductees. They all proudly recognize role that Richard C. Lee High School or Hill Regional Career High School played in their lives. While Lehigh no longer exists, the spirit, the energy, and the community continues. Purple remains school color, and so many children and grandchildren of Lehigh students attending career. We want to be respectful of everyone's time tonight, so we will present the inductions in 3 groups, with each group before a course of tonight's dinner. Our inductees and accomplishments are impressive, so we suggest reading their biographies in the event program to get the best understanding of how they earned this honor. And now, if we could be quiet, we will have the invocation by a famous principal who got his educational beginning at Lehigh with Bob Schreck and Judge Harper. He opened the new career high school with the spirit and embodiment of Lee High School. Without further ado, I'd like to present Charles Williams.
Good evening. Thank you. It is indeed a pleasure to be here at this. I'm about to bring up my principal hat. I realize that you guys are, I can't yell at you. Brittany, come to my office anymore. So I would just ask you to be respectful of the lady behind me. I know we're all having a good time, that we all can gather. So with that flavor in mind, a little assistance musicians, we are all gathered today in this wonderful and festive occasion. We thank all of the planners for all of you. We are here to preserve and protect. We ask that we are preserved and protected from all harm, hurt, and danger. We want this occasion to go smoothly without hitch or hiccup. Let us rekindle friendships, memories that may have been become distant parts of our lives. Let love guide and keep us always focused on each other in this very special community. With that, I would ask that you give just a round of applause to yourselves and your family. All who made it. And in parting, I would leave with these words. Bon appetit.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. And now, Dr. Pam Kelly will give the blessing for the food.
God of abundant light, we come before you in gratitude for our guests and benefactors, for conversation that seeks understanding, for bountiful food and gracious hospitality. God of mercy and justice, We come before you in humility, knowing others want for welcome or stand this day in need of food. Our call to notice and respond. May our time together deepen our gratitude, renew our hope, and move us to work toward justice. We make this prayer in your name, God of love. Amen.
Now, I want to introduce our last inductee, but certainly not our least. From the career class of 1992, a great legal mind in the state of Connecticut, the new U.S. District Attorney for Connecticut, Vanessa Roberts Avery. And now, what we're going to do is introduce our first four inductees, and then we'll have the salad right after that. Some people have said our first inductee had purple running through his veins. That was how much Lee High School meant to him. Maintaining the spirit of his school was something he took very seriously as a volunteer, planner, salesman, and organizer. Tragically, he passed away earlier this year, but he will be remembered in the Hall of Fame forever. From the Lehigh class in 1982, we now induct Mr. Scott posthumously into the Hall of Fame. Billy is represented tonight by George Kennedy. next inductee graduated from Lee High School nearly 50 years ago, when people stayed in touch with letters or long-distance phone calls. Today, we have the internet to keep us all connected. And this person has mastered all the technology at his disposal to keep the memories alive and his friends engaged. He's a digital whiz for Lee High School, and he helps the Lehigh community celebrate the happy occasion and provides support and comfort to the friends and family of Lehigh alumni. From the Lee class of 1973, we now induct Sonny Martone.
Somebody put a photo of it. We're all done.
Good evening. I'm Martone.
All set. I give you right here.
Thank you so much for the honor. Say it's overwhelming is an understatement. Much appreciated. Congratulations to all our 13
Everybody's retired.
You have accomplished so much. We're so proud to call you our own. I'm involved with a lot of groups on social media. One of which is if you haven't joined yet, please if you're not ready, you can get together with all our friends and family. Special thanks to those who go through your yearbooks so I can scan them into our group. Thanks to you, I was able to scan in every yearbook the Lehigh School was opened. And the first graduating class of 1961 class of 1986, 18 years later. We also have a memorial section. We honor and celebrate our friends and family. Video tributes, obituaries, and heartfelt.
Yeah, second big. Good ball
In
player.
closing, I'd like to say, God bless all our family and friends. May they live in our hearts forever.
68.
Thanks, Sonny. And he brought up an interesting point. Lee graduated the first class in 1968, and then the last class in 1986. And yet, the spirit lives on. We're in the house. Thank you. Our third inductee tonight has lived a life of service to her country, her community, church, and family. She served in the U.S. Army for 28 years, including the war zones of Iraq and Afghanistan. She taught thousands of military medical personnel and earned 4 college degrees along the way.
Esta mesa necesita como 4 personas que no tendrían
Today, she is a full-time humanitarian volunteering with the Girl Scouts, Toys for Tots, and numerous community outreach efforts from her church. She truly goes beyond to serve and encourage others to follow her lead. From the lead class of 1977, we are proud to induct Dorothy Faye Galbraith Williams.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. God is good. God is a great God. I am so honored tonight, and I am so humbled. Such a legacy, such a legacy. For those of you that know me, I graduated in the class of 77. I was a teenage mom before I went to college, but there was a legacy. I'm grateful tonight to my niece, daughter, Renee Galbraith, who submitted my name. But when I saw I was in the company with Mr. Court Match, I was like, oh my God. Even if I don't win, just to be in the company with such awesome teachers, and he was my housemaster. Miss Neighbors, I just remember her writing on the board, just not even with a book. She wrote. I just remember those things. But I'm so honored and I'm so blessed. And I'm truly honored tonight. My mother died a year ago, but God gave me 10 years with her after I retired. I have 4 generations of my family here. They've never been at just about anything I've done in life. I had to do it alone with God and my military family. But I'm blessed tonight, and I truly thank my family for being here. I truly want to thank those that had the vision and brought this to pass, and that keeps bringing it to pass, so that we can see each other again. Love one another, be kind and forgive. I'm so humble tonight, I truly thank you. I thank you all, I wish you all the best. And let us not forget those that paved the way before us. They paved the way, some of them are gone, some of them are still here. There's somebody here from the first graduation class, so we thank God tonight. And I'm so humble and I'm so blessed. I pray for everyone in the room, you are covered. You're covered tonight because I'm in the house, because I know who I am and whose I am. Thank you, God. Thank you, amen.
Thank you, Faye.
No, no quiero.
One other thing I'd like to mention, earlier this evening, Senator Blumenthal was here, and he had some other engagement, but he was thrilled to be here. He's sorry he missed Vanessa, but he gives our regards. Also, Attorney General Tong was here, and he wanted to say a few words, but his schedule didn't allow him. So we want to thank both of them for coming and sharing this evening with us. Also, you may have noticed that every inductee is getting a box, compliments of Duncan, and they are thrilled. We are thrilled that they are supporting us. Thank you very much. Our final inductee in this segment is a nationally recognized science educator whose passion for biology and chemistry grew at Lee High School. She holds a master's degree and a PhD from Yale in molecular biology and worked with Nobel Prize-winning Professor Cindy Alden on research that I won't even try to pronounce because I will miss it. She is the author, an entrepreneur, and passionate promoter of science education for children of all ages. Her mom made a special trip to get here. She's with us this evening. I now introduce Dr. Heidi Gold-Dworkin.
public school system for giving me the opportunity to begin my scientific career. A shout out to Shirley Neighbors, my biology teacher. A shout out to Charles Williams, my chemistry teacher. Shout out to John Portman, my housemaster. Shout out to some of my classmates that are here. My company, Little Scientists. I have worked with New Haven public school students over the past 25 years, and I've engaged thousands of students to become lifelong learners, critical thinkers, and problem solvers. My nonprofit's mission is to alleviate the socioeconomic achievement gap and support New Haven public school students and their families. So, my goal is to pay it forward as my teachers and friends and supporters helped me through my career starting in Lee High School. I also want to thank my family for their ongoing support, my mother Jackie, my sisters Stacy and Rhonda, my husband Jay, and children Aviva, Olivia, and Robert for being here tonight and their support. Thank you, New Haven.
Thank you, sir.
Now that concludes our first portion of the program. Enjoy, and then we'll be back as quick as we can. Thank you.
Testing the microphone. Testing the microphone. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clip this microphone right onto that microphone. So if somebody was talking up here right now, this is what you would hear because the microphone is right there. They're talking into the microphone, and hopefully you'll hear it a little bit better without some of the background noise. Think that's better? Anybody think that's better? Can you guys hear me okay? Are you getting anything from this? Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing the microphone, testing the microphone. If that's not working, I can come back there and we can try a different wire. Or I can try a different microphone completely. So let me know if this is working. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. It really needs to be like that. That's really the way it should be. So now they're talking right into the microphone.
volunteer-driven, non-profit organization, and we could not hold an event like this without our generous sponsors. Please join me in thanking our gold sponsor, Duncan. And our bronze sponsor, Yale University. And a friend of the Hall of Fame and a friend of many of us who started the spirit of Lee High School, even though he wasn't the first principal, Dr. Robert Schreck. We appreciate your support, and thanks to all of the vendors out front and the advertisers in tonight's program, as well as we hope you will consider their products and services. And anyone interested in becoming a member of the Hall of Fame Committee or a sponsor in any way, shape, or form, we would be glad to entertain it. Now, before we induct the next 5 members into the Hall of Fame, I want to thank 2 of our alumni who have generously volunteered their services to tonight's event. Our DJ, Terrence Rogers, from the Lehigh class of '84. And Jaquana Robert Sewell from the Career High class of 2005. Thanks for showing your Lee and Career High support. Incidentally, this affair is now being shown on YouTube. And now we will induct the next 5 people into the Lee Career Hall of Fame. Our next inductee, and I would appreciate your attention and support, since she is a very special member of our faculty at both high schools. She worked for an incredible 45 years career as a public school teacher. In her years at Lee High School and Career High School, she was considered by some students to be a tough teacher. But knowledge and teaching skills were beyond reproach. She was the driving force behind an award-winning educational collaboration with Yale University and Career. One of the things that the students did, they went to Yale Medical School and worked on cadavers, and she was instrumental in setting this program up. She has received over a dozen awards for her teaching and service in education. And we are thrilled to induct Shirley Moss Neighbors into the Hall of Fame. Don't be fooled by her small size. She is as tough as they come.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for even considering me as an applicant, one who's qualified. And I'd also like to thank the people who helped me along the way. Whenever you are awarded for anything, just remember you didn't do it by yourself. I tried to impart a lot of my values into my classroom. The first was respect, because it's free. It does not cost you 1 cent. That sign stayed on my door for 45 years. The other thing that I believed in was that every child deserves an equal opportunity to learn. You don't have to be at the top of the class to be included in the group that is successful. Another thing that I believed in was something that I thought would motivate the students. So another poster that stayed on my classroom door was that your attitude determines your altitude. So you need to check it at the door. My students worked very hard. I gave them a list of guidelines, and every one of them, I think they remember that. It was to encourage them to learn that they could actually succeed and pass the course. Number one was prompt arrival. There's no reason for you to be late. I get the same number of minutes to get to the classroom. The second thing I required was, please don't use profanity, but if you do, just apologize. Don't make a habit of it. And that includes me. Okay? Another thing that I thought worked for them was giving them 1 week's notice before test. You needed at least a week to study. I can remember that my exams they said they were difficult, but remember, everything that you were told to study for in some form or another would appear on the test. And when we had midterm exams, I remember the principal, Dr. Schreck, coming around the classrooms to see how the students were making progress. And I think when he heard me say, okay, you're up to page 11 on the test, we just have 1 more page to go, he just walked out of the classroom. The students and the parents also liked the way that I would let the students know halfway the marking period how they were doing, because if they did not like the present grade, they at least had 4 more weeks to go. And I did that because I don't think any parent or any student needs to find out when the report card comes out that it's an F instead of an A. Another thing that I thought was successful for my students, they didn't mind the hard work. They loved all the labs, because I think a part of a science lab is including experiments, labs that they can do, labs that they enjoy, and labs that they will see in Bio 101 when they go to college. Many of them have told me all of this helped. But the most important thing I would like to say is that as a teacher, each day I wanted to make sure that I took a student's hand, opened a mind, and hopefully earned their respect and in their hearts forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Neighbors. And one thing I used to tease her about, and I worked with her for 39 years as a science teacher, I would always say, it's unbelievable as soon as the people walked into her classroom how quiet and respectful they would be. And then I learned She was a karate expert. Our next inductee also had a long relationship with the New Haven Public Schools, with 34 years as a math teacher and an administrator. His humanitarian service spans many organizations, but he is best known for his 2 decades of leadership in the New Haven Road Race, which provides support to over 30 area nonprofits and youth organizations. He's taken the skills needed to be a housemaster at Lehigh under Bob Schreck, earning respect, becoming an effective member of a team, and retaining a sense of humor. And he applied them to help charities improve the lives of countless people in and around New Haven. We now induct John Corbmanch to the Hall of Fame, and I may add, one of my best friends and one of 10 in his family.
Thank you.
Let me begin by saying that for several reasons, I am truly humbled to receive this wonderful recognition. First of all, just to be included among such an eclectic, accomplished, and extraordinary group of honorees is itself humbling. Moreover, recognizing the awesome commitment that the Hall of Fame Committee and Alumni Association have given to this event, so meaningful and special, is also humbling. Accordingly, I want to extend my sincere appreciation and congratulations to the entire committee, but especially Pamela, Monk, Kelly, Peter Evans, and Stuart Katz for their extraordinary commitment, devotion, and continued loyalty to the spirit of Richard C. Lee High School. In fact, you and your committee personify the wonderful relationships that faculty and students were so fortunate to experience and enjoy at Lee and Career High Schools. I want to express my thanks to my family and friends who are here tonight. Your presence makes receiving this honor much more personal and meaningful. My immediate family, in fact, deserves a share in this award. My son Brian, for example, whose favorite color is still purple, attended countless varsity sporting events with me. And Tara, despite somehow falling asleep in the boisterous New Haven Coliseum while Sly Williams and Sputnik Woodson were winning us a state championship. She too fondly recalls attending Mr. Dunkel and Mr. Freeman's many music concerts. Additionally, my wife, Betsy, enthusiastic support from my commitment to Lee High School was certainly integral to my recognition, this special recognition this evening. I want to thank them and thank everyone here for attending and supporting Lee High School. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Courtmanch. Standing up for things that you know are right is what leaders do, and it's certainly what our next inductee did throughout her career in coaching. When the city of New Haven was not properly funding girls' high school sports programs, she filed a lawsuit that eventually created a powerhouse girls' sports team, including the Lehigh girls basketball team, which she led to a state title in 1975. She then became the first black coach of a women's basketball team in the Big Ten Conference at the University of Wisconsin. By the way, she showed us how to win the state championship because we won it the next year with her help. Now, we would like to induct a very special person, Edwina Qualls.
All right. First of all, I would like to, at 75, and I said I haven't been back and seen some of these people in 50 years. And I often wondered, even some of my players, and one of the things I said, I may not recognize them, but I would be able to recognize them. I wouldn't recognize them physically, but I would recognize them by their voice. And I happened to meet one of the young ladies who played on my first girls basketball team at Lee. Is Creola. Where are you, Creola? Stand up. Somewhere in the back. Yes. And she recently told me that she became a teacher herself, so that was great to hear. One of the things about my life itself is that athletics, sports, has always been a medium for my expression. I was the youngest of 6 children. I had 3 older brothers who were all sports-minded. And believe it or not, I even helped one of them as a catcher while he was practicing pitching for his high school team. I got beamed in the head one time from one of his curveballs. And he said, "There's no crying in baseball." And that was my brother, Nate Qualls, who sits over there, who played for North Haven High School. But like I said, sports was a medium of my expression, and you don't get up here for an award like this unless you've had not only family members to assist you along the way. I had a great coach at Southern Connecticut. Her name was Louise O'Neill, and many of you probably know her, not only coaching the women's basketball team at Southern Connecticut during my years. She went on to coach at Yale, became athletic director at Yale, went on to Dartmouth as athletic director, and Wesley as well. And recently, in 2017, she was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. So she was my mentor, encouraged me to go on to become a coach at Lee High School and eventually at the University of Wisconsin, where she received her master's degree. And in life, you never know when you meet someone how they're going to affect your life. And my life was intertwined with different connections. I grew up in North Haven, Connecticut. I graduated from Cross High School. They had no girls' athletic program at the time. So I learned most of my athletics from my brother's community that I grew up in. Also too, going on to college, I played in various sports. And once I graduated from Southern Connecticut, I had to decide upon where I wanted to teach. And fortunately, Lee High School had an opening for a physical education teacher. And at that time, Mary Benevento, who happened to be my PE gym teacher at Cross, was also the department head and athletic director at Lee. Amazing. And I also had the opportunity to meet Mr. Schreck, Luby Harper, who were very athletic-minded, which was a plus for me and for Lee High School. And I was offered the job, and then when I heard that Lee High School the year before had over 200 false fire alarms, and I said, did I really make the right decision? But in those 7 years that I was there from 69 to 76, I can say that I made the right decision. The thing about Schreck and Harper, they encourage athletics to be a unifier. And also the thing that I liked about Lee High School teaching there was that it brought in students from diverse communities. I tell people we had African Americans from the Hill. Going further out Edgewood, you had a Jewish group of people. East Haven had the Italians. And so when you look at the structure, and even you had Spanish, Puerto Ricans, and a certain area of the committee of New Haven. But the great thing about it is that despite the differences in the background, they all were able to be unified around sports and athletics. So most people probably remember from women's basketball, but I also coach track, and like Peter Evans said, for us to have a girls' athletic program in New Haven, we had to file a lawsuit with the Board of Education. Although we had some small pockets of money that Mary Benevento founded, probably the first 2 or 3 years we played a few schools. Model cities came in 73, gave us support for the girls' athletic team. And that following year, we anticipated that the Board of Education were going to continue and support a girls' program throughout New Haven. Unfortunately, they decided no. So we in turn, myself, Debbie Chen, others from the other schools, filed a lawsuit against the Board of Education of New Haven. And rather than fight, they just folded and committed money for all 3 high schools. So that was really great. Okay. All right. Also, too, just wanted to recognize some of the players on the track team. I just wanted to recognize Daisy Montanez. Don't know if she's in the house tonight, but she did win a state title in the 100, 200-yard dash. She went on to qualify for the U.S. track and field athletic championships. Basketball, of course, you know that was one of my favorite sports. Had some great teams, but you don't become a great coach not unless you have great players to work with. And if you had the Hill sisters, Celeste and Debbie, you were going to be a winner. Also, too, if you had the Hall sisters, you were going to be a winner. With Annette Hall, Renee Hall is in the house tonight. Her sister, Arlene Hall, ran track for us. Also did a long jump. And I believe she is still living in Dubai, believe it or not. They said I got to wrap it up. And I'd just like to say very quickly, happy to be here. Thank the committee for their hard work putting on this display. And I'll be back next year as a visitor to support all of you. And one last thing, 1970s, Diana Ross came out with a song, Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand. Make this world a better place if you can. God bless and free Griner.
Thank you, Edwina. And now our next inductee also had a wonderful sense of New Haven and helping all of us in a different vein. Posthumously, we are inducting a gentleman who helped immeasurably Mayor Harp, previous administration, in the cultural area for the city of New Haven. Posthumously, we are honoring Andrew Wolf. Class of 1969. His younger brother, Jimmy Wolf, is going to say a few words.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the honorees. Well deserved. And on behalf of my family and my friends, I want to thank you on honoring my brother, Andy Wolf. And also, I'd like to thank all the people that I ran into who were my former students at Roberto Clemente and some of my former players at Hill House, but I still cheered for Lee. My brother Andy graduated in 1969. He was editor-in-chief of the yearbook. And from Lehigh, he went to Trinity College, Georgetown Law, and then the John F. Kennedy School for Government. After practicing law for a while in New Haven, he went to work for Frank Stanton at CBS. And then he was in charge of the Education Committee at the UN. And then he went to the Pacific Design Center in Los Angeles as its executive director. And while in Los Angeles, he went to the Democratic Convention and he ran into Mayor Harp. And Mayor Harp said, I need you to come to New Haven to be the Commissioner of Cultural Affairs, Tourism, and Art. And in Andy's 5 years here, he completely revitalized that department. It became not only well-known in New Haven and Connecticut, but Andy was well-known nationally for the work he did in New Haven. Andy was a complete gentleman. He was compassionate, and he had so much energy that he couldn't wait for the next event to make New Haven better. If Andy was here today, he would be very proud and humble to receive this award from the school that he really loved and that made him the wonderful person that he was, and that's Lee High School. Thank you for honoring my brother.
And now, before we have our meal, we'd like the committee members to come up, and they have a special award from our Duncan sponsors. Dolores McCrae Bird, Suzette Courtmanch, Dr. Ronnie Johnson Deleuze Singleton, Donna Galbraith, Paul Henderson, Liz McCrae, Karen Claiborne Pride, Dr. Jacqueline Monk Roberts, and Jaquana Roberts Sewell, who's, I think, very busy right now. And we'll be back to finish up our inductees. Thank you. kicking off our last group. Back in that far corner, the Robinson brothers. Take a seat, will you? All right, our final group, we kick off with a very special person. He began his entrepreneurial spirit years ago selling ads for the Lehigh Yearbook. And then he moved out to the Midwest in Chicago in 1983. And starting with one location, he built a small empire of 20 bagel shops all around the city. But we all know what New Haven's most famous for. He packed that in and he started with a crazy idea, selling New Haven-style abits in Chicago, where deep dish pizza ruled the category. He proved the naysayers wrong, and over 20 years later, his brewery and pizzeria called Peace is one of the Windy City's best reviewed restaurants and financially very successful. Though he didn't bring any pizza with him tonight, we will still induct Bill Jacobs from the class of '79 into the Hall of Fame.
Good evening. Pete asked about bringing pizza to New Haven, and that would be like bringing coals to Worcester Street. Something you don't do. But I gotta say, this is finally my opportunity to thank Pete and Sly for that 1976 state championship. I was at that game with my brothers. My brother Steve is here, my dad Dick, and we were at the New Haven Coliseum, and it was something spectacular and something I will always remember, and so will they. So thank you, Pete, thank you, Sly, and got a few things to say here. I'd like to thank the committee and to Bert Saxon, my teacher, who not only nominated me, but also wrote my letter of recommendation for Boston University, my alma mater. Unfortunately, Bert couldn't be here tonight, but he sends his regards. Bert is the friend that keeps on giving. Pizza, or abits, as we know it here, has been a passion of mine since I was a kid eating at Sally's. My dad would turn to me and my brothers and exclaim, this is the greatest pizza in the world. He's still right. This passion of mine for pizza took me to my family's kitchen. In 7th grade, Stu Katz and I took this exploration a little too far when we attempted to make fried dough pizza. We put a pot of oil on the stove, covered it, and we turned up the heat, and we turned it up high. Flames erupted, and the fire department showed up. The kitchen was burnt, not charred. Fortunately, my pizza skills evolved. In 2001, after bringing bagels to a bagel bereft Chicago with my brothers, I brought New Haven on Beach to the Windy City, the city of deep dish. Chicago needed it. The success of Peace is the result of hard work, commitment, and loyalty of my team. Prior to COVID, Peace achieved the recognition of being the highest grossing independent pizzeria in the country, something I'm very proud of, and I thank my team for that. My interest in food was an outgrowth of my formative years in the New Haven public schools. Public school is the best. Lehigh was not only a place to get a very good education, it also provided life lessons that enabled me to succeed. Those lessons included learning to get along with everyone, empathy, and survival skills. I love my Lehigh experience. I'd like to thank every teacher and administrator for the work they do. Special thanks and congratulations to John Courtmanch, my East House housemaster, and Shirley Neighbors, my biology teacher, both of whom are honored tonight. Shirley was a tough teacher. Thanks to my family, my brothers Steve, Andy, and Pete, and my parents, Carrie and Dick, who are over on the other side of the room here. My folks provided me with the right values, with the encouragement to follow my passion, and have been my cheerleaders through this journey. Lastly, I've been waiting 43 years to say this again. The tassel was worth the hassle. Thank you.
How's that for a number one hitter in the last group? The next person that we're going to induct was a standout athlete in his chosen sport, a 4-year varsity starter, all-district league team, all-star games, 3 straight mayor's trophies, and named one of the 10 best high school players in Connecticut. The college scholarship offers from around the country rolled in, but his priority was his family, and specifically his mother, who was being treated for cancer. He stayed in New Haven to help care for her. His playing abilities evolved into coaching, officiating, and running youth leagues in the New Haven area. And many, many kids from the Morris Cove area are thrilled that he stayed around, and he's done a wonderful job. Without further ado, Lehigh class of 1978, we now induct Michael Lamberti into the Hall of Fame.
Trying to find. I think I left it at my table over there. Oh my God. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to thank Lee Career Hall of Fame Board for placing me into this very prestigious association. I also like to congratulate the other inductees, honoring them also in the class of 2022. I personally like to thank Stu Katz, Dolores Bird, Mr. Pete Evans, and Pamela. Pamela. That's okay, that's good. That's my friend Larry Kelly's wife, I'm sorry. And the committee for going above and beyond and assisting me through the process and recommending me for the Outstanding Award. Looking back over my 4 years as a high school career as an athlete, student, and a competitive person, I must say I have met some wonderful peers, teachers, and coaches that I still look up to and admire them to this day. After 44 years, this is truly a dream come true, to come back and be honored by a school that I hold very dear to my heart. Being honored here tonight for my accomplishments for playing, sports, coaching, and one of the founding fathers of the East Shore Travel League, and to continue to do something that you like to do and never expecting anything in return. I also like to thank the committee for this wonderful event and touches deeply with all the inductees. You put a lot of hard work into it. I'd like to acknowledge the overwhelming show of support by all these in attendance tonight on my behalf and on the inductees' behalf, especially all my extended family and friends. Most importantly, I'd like to thank my family, my wife Dawn, who has stood by me through good and bad times and who supported me through my sacrifices of her own personal time with me, so I give my time to the sports world. I'd like to acknowledge my 3 children, Michael Jr., Nicholas, Gabrielle, for being there and showing me the support to allow me to pursue my dreams. I'm very humbled and excited about this honor. This has been bestowed on to me. There is 3 people I wish who were here tonight. My mother and father who are deceased, and my wife Dawn, who's in the hospital after a very major surgery on Monday. So this award is dedicated to my wife Dawn. I would like to toast to my peers, who I'd like to say to them, congratulations on all your accomplishments and endeavors and your family. Finally, I'd like to thank everyone who had a hand for putting this beautiful dinner tonight together. Thanks to you all. God bless you. Respectfully, Michael J. Lamberti.
Thank you, Mike. Another former Lehigh baseball player is our next inductee, but he is not going into the Hall of Fame for his success with a bat or glove. He has a rare and possibly unique story of success in the restaurant industry, rising to the executive suite in a multi-billion-dollar global corporation without a college degree. And it all started at Lee High School when one of his teachers, a good friend of ours, Ralph Severino, helped him get a job at the McDonald's across the street from where we are sitting right now. Today, he leads the U.S. operations of Dunkin' and has served as a mentor for people in food service for decades. Whether they are an entry-level employee or a large franchise owner, he also has a significant commitment to community service, particularly with health care organizations. From the Lehigh class of 1979, we now induct Rick Colon into the Hall of Fame.
So I heard the mayors are in the house. The mighty, mighty mayors. First I want to, events like this don't happen without a lot of people behind the scenes, a lot of volunteer hours. So first and foremost, a huge thank you to the people behind the scenes to put this event on, because I know you work tirelessly on all of our behalf, so thank you. Second of all, to the committee, when I got the phone call that I was being nominated, and it was said earlier, and when I saw the list of nominees, just the fact that I was nominated, I was humbled and honored. And before tonight, receiving this award, the biggest honor I ever received at Lee High School was passing Miss Neighbor's class. Billy Jacobs and I were talking earlier, we still don't know how we got through that class. But this award is about the team, and through my 40-plus year career in corporate America, there's been thousands of people that have been a part of the team, and the sacrifices and the contributions that they made is the reason that I'm up here today. It's all about the team. And then on the personal side, there are three individuals that I just have to give a special recognition to. The first one was mentioned earlier, which is Mr. Ralph Severino. Those of you that had him as a teacher, we knew him as Mr. Sev. And I had the opportunity to talk to Mr. Sev and Maureen Severino earlier, and they wish they could be here, but they send their regards. But Sev saw me in the hallways one day, and he reminded me today, and he told me that I was kind of hanging out in the wrong part of the school. And I learned a lot of skills at Lee, including playing craps, by the way. You guys that were, you know what I mean. But he reminded me that he asked me to sign up for his class. And he asked me if I was going to go to college, and I said, Mr. Sev, no one in my family's ever been to college. My parents never even made it out of grade school. He goes, well, my class is for you. And I did 2 years in DECA, and he got me started at McDonald's, ironically, right across the street at 105 Church Street. So to come back here 43 years later and get this recognition is incredible. And it's just amazing. And as you all know, I spent almost 40 years at McDonald's, and I have a lot of gratitude. And I moved. I've worked in 7 different states. But it wasn't all fun and games. There were times where I was going to pack it all in, especially early on. And my sister, who's here tonight, class of 71, by the way. There were 2 times in my career that I was going to quit early on. The first one, I just came home and I just had it. I had cleaned my last toilet. I was like, sis, I can't do it. I'm cleaning all these bathrooms every day, and you know, in downtown New Haven, people were leaving a lot of stuff behind that I didn't want to clean. And I said, I'm going to pack this in. I got to go find a job elsewhere. And she said to me, you want to move up in this company? You want to do something? She said, clean those bathrooms better than anybody else does. And your boss will notice. And because she gave me that advice, I stuck it out. And then the second time I was going to resign from McDonald's was I interviewed for a position that I really, really, really wanted. And I didn't get it. And I remember calling her up and I said, I didn't get the job, sis. I think it's time for me to move on. And believe it or not, this was only in the 90s, and I didn't leave McDonald's until 2016. And she said, you know, Rick, this job just wasn't meant for you. Just wait for the next one. Wait for the next one. The next one came, and I took my family and I to Dallas, Texas. I had the opportunity to, gone to 48 states, over 20 countries, and then I decided to retire. It's overrated. About 18 months later, I got a phone call from a dear friend of mine and said, how's retirement? I said, don't do it, it's overrated. And he said, no. He said, how would you like to join Team Duncan? He said, I'm looking for a chief operating officer. I can't think of a better person. Next month will be 5 years that I've been with Duncan. And a big shout out to the Duncan family that's here tonight. And then the last thank you, and although all 3 of my boys are here, and as parents, you know you love all your kids equally, I moved around a lot. And my oldest son had the opportunity to attend the same high school all 4 years. And my younger son actually has been in the same school for 9 years, and now will attend the same high school for the next 4 years. But my middle son, that one, he went to high school in 3 different states because Dad was moving around the world, around the country. So there were a lot of people that made sacrifices on my team at work, but also the family made a huge sacrifice. So with that, I say thank you to all of you because I'm standing up here because of all of you. Thank you.
Just one last tidbit that we thought would be appropriate. Stu always is filled with great ideas. How many people are from East House? How about North House? South House? Oh, that's probably because Mr. Maratola was the housemaster and... Okay. Oh, I forgot West House. Well, before we induct the next person, oftentimes in this highly sports-minded world, several players get one name only. And I am going to apologize now because I changed this young man's name when he came to high school. He started out as Sylvester. I called him Sly, and that he became the first one. Before we induct him, he asked a special request to have his nephew Marquise and Nakia, his niece, say a few words, and then we'll call on Sly. Daughter.
Come on, Marquise, you got this.
Thanks, I roll.
You got this, man. Come on. Yeah.
Good evening, all. I am the daughter of Sylvester Sly Williams. He is my father. I speak for myself and my siblings. To you guys, he's known as Sly. To myself and my siblings, he's known as our hero. Daddy, I love you. You are my GOAT.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Hey, my name is Marquise Reed. I'm his oldest nephew. And, he said I only have one line, but, I don't call him Uncle Sly. He's called my guy. Anytime I reference him, he's my guy. And, I just had a quote, any HBCU alumni like myself. If anybody followed Grambling State University, the legendary Grambling State University head coach, Eddie Robinson, would tell his players that they would either succeed or fail with no excuses. They would either succeed or fail with no excuses. And, my uncle and I, we live in the same state now. He's still as competitive as he's ever been. It's only about yards now. Me and him compare yards to one another, and he'll never admit it, but my yard is better than his. And, Uncle Sly, I love you with all my heart. And, if you are half the athlete as you are a person, you are great.
Incidentally, while he's lumbering up here, we should have really had 3 state championships. We got beat his sophomore year by the #1 team in the country, Wilbur Cross. The next year we lost to one of the teams in the top 10 at the buzzer. So we could have very easily won 3 in a row.
I tell you, it's a lot of good people in this room. And first and foremost, I want to thank my family, who has always been there with me, no matter what. My mother, that she couldn't make it here, but she's watching on YouTube. And God bless her, because she did the best, and I've always tried to do the best. The most important thing is, look at all the love in here. Lehigh is always #1 in my heart. The teachers, the people, the students, the faculty was the best that I ever had. They molded me to be the person that I am today. We all make mistakes in life, but it's how you pick yourself up and get back and do the right thing. And then people know that you are that person, that young kid that walked in there and had a twinkle in his eye and loved everybody. And that's the most important thing that I can pass on, is because all of you here made me who I was. Without you, teammates, coaches, both coaches, not just you. Okay. Okay, where's he at? Cherney, where's Mr. Cherney? Stand on up. Mr. Courtmash, stand up. Stand up. And if I forget anyone, don't forget, it's still all love. And the most important thing is that I'm here, and I love you all. And thanks and all the inductees here, congratulations, and have a wonderful night.
Well, that was one of our home run hitters, but we're not finished yet. The next inductee is no longer with us, but his heart and family stand strong. It's unbelievable. It's a Horatio Algier story that this young man played at the Sandlots behind Lee High School, where we didn't even have a 100-yard field. And he went from that situation to become a head coach in the NFL. And all of you know what that's about. Every single day, the ESPN and all the stations, that's all they talk about. This young man went to Lee, played football, then he went to University of New Haven, and after that he started his coaching career. He has a wonderful family support, and his wife even was at Lee High School with him. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next inductee, posthumously, Anthony Sperano.
My name is Jeanette Sperano. I am incredibly honored and thankful to be with you tonight, representing my husband, Tony Sperano. On behalf of my husband, I would like to congratulate the distinguished fellow inductees, many of whom are our classmates, our teachers, our mentors, our friends, and our coaches. Tony and I met in the fall of 1978 at Lee High School. This has led to a lifetime of love, blessings, and adventures for our family and for us. I am and will always remain grateful to God for the gift of life with my husband. Tony's achievements professionally have been incredible and are a testament to his hard work, dedication, discipline, and determination. He was chosen 4 times as a Coach of the Year, twice as a college football head coach, twice as an NFL head coach. He was honored as the National Football Foundation and College Hall of Fame's Distinguished American. He is in the Hall of Fame at the University of New Haven and also at Boston University. These accolades are among many he received over a 34-year coaching career. And while I am so proud of Tony for all of the outstanding and amazing things he has achieved, the pride, respect, and love I feel for Tony and the way he lived his life, the man he chose to be, is unending. Tony approached each day with energy, optimism, and joy, popping out of bed before 5 a.m., whistling and singing. He just could not wait to begin each day. Tony was first and foremost a family man. He was a man of immense faith. He was a devoted son, brother, uncle, and friend. He was the proudest father, and the love and support he gave to our children, Tony, Andy, and Ryan Lee, was and remains a blessing to them. No matter how busy his schedule might have been, he made sure he was in the stands cheering them on during countless football, softball, and baseball games. He was the absolute best, most loving papa. He loved spending time with our grandchildren, Tony, Gabby, Mia, and Gianna. They were such a joy to him, as they are for me. It has always been and will always be the greatest joy and honor of my life to be his wife. And I thank you truly from the bottom of my heart for honoring my husband, Tony, this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now, before I introduce our final inductee, I would just like the previous several years ago, our inductees that are here this evening. Dr. Schreck, Mike Eisenberg, Judge Harper, Dr. Ronnie DeLuz. Anyone else that I'm missing? Please stand up so we could. Now, our last inductee is pretty special in her own right. Although she's a lot younger than some of these people, she still has achieved an unbelievable career in a very short time. She is our only career high school graduate among this group, and also the only one who was the valedictorian of her class. Incidentally, Mrs. Neighbors used to keep a little file who she predicted would be the valedictorian, and she predicted that this girl would be. She was a star the first minute she walked into my way back when 9th grade science class. She now has been on the rise in the legal community throughout her career, whether in private practice with firms in Connecticut or as a public servant at the state and federal level. Earlier this year, she was nominated by the President Biden, to serve as the U.S. Attorney for the District of Connecticut, confirmed by the U.S. Senate and sworn in May. Senator Richard Blumenthal, who was here earlier but had a busy schedule, and Vanessa has a busy one also, said after her nomination, she is a proven prosecutor, tough and fair, who has deep roots in her community and a lifetime of service. And we are proud that she is part of this community as well. She is the first Black female to become a U.S. District Attorney in the state of Connecticut. It is with great pleasure we induct Vanessa Robert Avery into the Hall of Fame.
So I'm in a hot seat because I'm standing between everybody and the exit doors. So I'll try to keep to the script. First, I want to just say how honored I am to be in this group of inductees. Sitting there and listening to all of your backgrounds and biographies I am incredibly, incredibly honored to be in your presence. So congratulations to all of the inductees. I have to start also by calling Mr. Evans out, and I'll get to that in a minute. He mentioned that I was the class valedictorian, and I want to start by talking about the theme of my valedictorian address, which coincidentally was 30 years ago. I was class of '92. The theme of that speech was, education is not a selfish venture. And that theme was one that Carol Pettick, who was my English teacher at the time, helped me to distill into a sentence. But it was a theme that my parents really instilled in me as a young child. And what that means, education not being a selfish venture, means that when you go to a school like Lee High School or Career High School, and you have teachers and administrators and other educators who pour into you, coaches, the way we all received, you have an obligation to give something back to your community. And I want to call Mr. Evans out for a minute as an example of one of those teachers. When I was in 9th grade, I remember there were days when I wasn't in the best of spirits. And Mr. Evans cared enough to pull me to the side and ask me about what was going on. And I remember senior year, when I was accepted into college, Mr. Evans knew that my family had limited financial means, and he brought me a t-shirt from my university that I could wear around the school for those couple of weeks before graduation. I'm not done yet. On days when I was so sick that I had to go home early from school, there were times when Mr. Evans volunteered to drive me home to my neighborhood in New Hallville so that I didn't have to take the bus there. I could go on, and I won't call him out about the special gift he gave me tonight, but you are certainly one of my favorite teachers. I was also fortunate to have Mrs. Neighbors as my biology teacher. You've all heard all of her stories. So there are other teachers in this room, I think, who taught me. I don't know if you want to wave your hands. I know I saw Mr. Williams earlier. I think I heard Mr. Cherney in the back. Thank you for all you poured into us. I think if nothing else, if we all leave this room today with all this positive energy, understanding our obligation to give something back to the community. It's up to us to make changes when we see that things need to happen in the world. And so don't always point to the thems and the theys who you think need to make those changes. It's our turn to stand up and make that work happen. So I am honored to stand before you as the United States Attorney for this district, and I look forward to calling on all of you. One last note of thanks to my family and my good friends who are at the table here supporting me tonight. I just can't do any of the work that I do without my village. And so again, I thank those from Career High School, those who have taught Lee High School and Career High School and are still doing the great work that brought us all here today. Thank you.
Well, in closing, we'd like to remind you, if you haven't already, if you'd like to take pictures in the outside in the photo booth. Also, I don't know about any of you what you think, but it's an unbelievable class of inductees this year. We really had some special people. Thank you very much for coming, and drive safely, and good luck to everyone.